So breaking news coming out of Wolves in the last kind of few minutes, really. Renato Sanches coming to Wolves apparently on a season-long loan. It's been caveated right now that it might not happen because of injuries, but this news is kind of breaking, and it's a bit mental. Obviously, the Sven Botman thing looks like it's fallen through, which is a big blow. But getting Renato Sanches is it's look. Obviously, there's some downsides to it. Obviously, the Swansea thing and the injuries, but this is the perfect central midfielder for Wolves. I've done so many videos on this channel about we need a central midfielder. We need a central midfielder that can actually dribble. And it feels like we're finally going to get that. Um, I'm actually in kind of disbelief. It's mental. Um, let's get the negatives out of the way first. Obviously, had that bad spell at loan at Swansea, but I don't really think that's an issue personally. Tammy Abraham went to Swansea and he was in that same team, and he's just got a £40 million move to Roma, and everyone loves Tammy Abraham. So I don't think that's necessarily too big of a downside. And of course, there's his injury record, right? That's a concern, especially for someone so young. The one thing you could say about it, he hasn't had any like really serious injuries. They've all been little niggly injuries, but a lot of them are muscle injuries and hamstring injuries, which is a bit of a concern, kind of a la Daniel Pedent and Willy Bolly, right? But if Lille are willing to do a loan deal, this is worth a punt. So the injury record is a bit of a concern, but on loan, there's no real downside. Now to the good things about it, it's literally perfect for Wolves. Obviously, Wolves did in this Ask Wolves Q&A they did. By the way, subscribe to the channel. In this Ask Wolves thing they did, they said they needed to get creative in the market. Our net spend is plus 4 million right now. I assume we'll have to buy a centre back, but getting a midfielder on loan of Renato Sanches' quality is amazing. Obviously he didn't actually play that much last season, or as much as people thought. Mainly because of injuries, but Benjamin Andre and Bibakari Samari were Lille's kind of midfield too. But when he did play, there's literally nothing Renato Sanches is bad at. He's got numbers that are like genuinely some of the best in Europe. Like if you look at some of the names on this right hand side that he's being compared to, they're like world class footballers, right? For a midfield to have 7 progressive carries and nearly 3 dribbles from central midfield, it's mental. Like his numbers kind of, I'm trying to think of someone that kind of mirror. Kind of like these numbers are very similar to something like Moussa Dembele when he was at Tottenham, right? A really good carry of the ball, really physical, really dominant, good dribbler, decent, or at least a creative passer anyway. Obviously, his pass completion is quite low. He's not someone like Giammattino who's going to play safe passes. He will risk it. Pretty low defensive numbers, albeit that could be due to the fact that Lille were a really ball dominant side last season. Obviously, they won the league. A bit of a concern that he's terrible in the air. That's a bit of a concern. You'd assume his defensive numbers would go up if he comes to Wolves because he'll have to do more work, right? And those are things you can work on, right? Like, for example, his pressures are pretty low, which you could say is him not working hard enough, but that's also a system thing, right? You assume Bruno Lage could coach Renato Sanches to press, but I'm nitpicking here. There's nothing about these numbers which are bad. These are like world-class numbers, albeit in kind of limited minutes. But he's 24. He's had the failed moves at a big club. This feels like the right time for him to move. And when you look at someone like Giammattino's numbers, they're kind of fading away a bit. And I think in that Wolves side, if you put Renato Sanches in that Giammattino position, let Neves be deeper and dictate play, and Sanches kind of be that guy who can burst into midfield and kind of get the ball into Jimenez quickly and play some 1-2s. This is literally the perfect signing for Wolves, bar the injury record. Obviously, we'll see what happens with the centre-back, but if Wolves do add, let's say we add Tosin Adarabioyo and get Renato Sanches in, along with Hwang Hee-chan and all the other signings, this is literally the perfect window for Wolves. I can't fault anything, and Wolves the owners have had a lot of slagging off after this video, after this Ask Wolves Q&A they did. If they get this over the line, he's an upgrade on Giammattino. He's way better than Leander Dendoncker, and we can't fault the board. We've had a really good start to the season. In all these games we've played, we've made some decent signings, and if this does come over the line, this Renato Sanches deal, it's literally the perfect signing. It's everything I've always said I wanted, just a midfielder who can pick up the ball and beat a few men and get up and help Raul Jimenez. It's what we need. It's perfect. Assuming he stays injury-free and can adapt to the league, which I don't have any concerns about, given the fact he was in an awful Swansea side and was very young. This is perfect for Wolves. He's better than any midfielder we've got. It's something different. It's a different profile of player, as Bruno Lage said. And Wolves should be very excited about this. All these numbers are elite. Of course, he needs to hold on to the ball a bit better, and his defensive numbers will need to go up. He'll probably need to bulk up a bit in the air to become a more dominant central midfielder. But apart from that and the injuries, there's no downside. and especially if Wolves are getting this on a loan. I assume it would be a loan with an option to buy. From Lille's point of view, anyway, they need money, but I don't know if anything it's breaking else on this recently. Not that I can see, but we'll see what happens in the next few hours. Like, I'm recording this at 9:20, so we'll see what happens. But if this does happen, this is such a huge signing for Wolves. Not just for how good he is, but it's also a name. It's a statement, and you kind of got to give credit to Fosun. You know, when that Sven Botman thing broke down, I saw a lot of people saying Fosun out and all this rubbish. This is a statement signing for Wolves to do this, especially on a loan, assuming he gets back from the injuries. And if we can get sent back as well, the board can say, okay, with the signings, we've backed Bruno Lage now, and now it's down to him to get good performances now into wins. But Renato Sanches, this is mental. This is the perfect signing. Maybe this will break down. It won't happen, but Lille need to sell. We need a midfielder. He's a George Mendes client. This all makes sense. Oh, this is so mental. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, hopefully this happens from a Wolves point of view. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, peace.